Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Taft City Council Successor Agency Joint Regular Meeting for March the 19th, 2019. As a courtesy to all, please set these on vibrate or silent so that you don't get an embarrassing call. Any writings or documents provided to a majority of the City Council regarding any item on this agenda are made available for public inspection in the lobby at Taft City Hall, 209 East Kern Street, Taft, California, during normal business hours. Just to be clear, anything on the agenda is kept available right there in the front of City Hall. All one need do to review the same documentation is come in and ask to see it, and there's a nice, comfortable place to sit there and read it. It's always available, all in the interest of transparent government. So this evening, we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance led by myself and an invocation by Cindy Brett Schneider of the United Methodist Church. Is Cindy here? I don't see Cindy. Well then, I'm going to ask that Police Chief help us out with that, if you would, please, sir. All right. If you would join me all. Salute and pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Police Chief Damon McMinn, if you would, please, sir.
Please remain standing. If you could bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we ask that you come into this council room tonight and that you give us the will and the direction to make the correct choices for our city. Lord, we ask that you take care of the citizens of Taft, guide and direct us, and let us do the right things for the citizens of Taft. Lord, we give you all the blessings in life, and we ask that you do this for us today. Lord, in your name, amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, sir. Madam Clerk, may we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Mayor Knorr.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Cryer.
Here.
Councilmember Bryant.
Here.
And Councilmember Whiting.
Here.
Never mind. Mr. Evelyn got tied up at work. I just got off the phone with her, got a text message from him, so he wanted to apologize to the council.
Okay, so Councilman Evelyn is not going to make the seat. Work call. Understood. All right then. First item on the agenda this evening is a public hearing proposed refunding of 1998 revenue refunding bonds, police station redevelopment. City Manager Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. In 1998, the Taft Public Financing Authority issued its $5,060,000 Taft Public Financing Authority revenue bond, police station and redevelopment projects to fund the acquisition and construction of certain public improvements within the boundaries of the city of Taft and certain redevelopment and housing projects. Debt service on the 1998 bonds is paid by two sources of revenue. Lease payments made by the city from the general fund pursuant to an amended and reinstated lease agreement, the 1998 lease, entered into between the authority and the city of Taft at the time of 1998 bonds were issued, and loan payments made by successor agency to the Taft Community Development Agency as successor to the former Taft Community Development Agency from the successor agency's redevelopment property tax trust fund pursuant to a loan agreement, the 1998 loan agreement entered into by and between the authority and the former agency at the time the 1998 bonds were issued. The city and the former agency also entered into a reimbursement agreement concurrently with the issuance of the 1998 bond and the execution of the 1998 lease, pursuant to which the former agency is required to pay the city's lease payments under the 1998 lease in the event the city is unable to make the lease payments. The 1998 bond are outstanding in the principal amount of $2,475,000 and bear interest at a rate of 5.8%. The authority's municipal advisor, Philman, Rollup, and Associates, has advised the authority, city, and successor agency that based on current market conditions, debt service savings can be achieved by refunding the 1998 bonds in full, including a repayment of the 1998 lease and the 1998 loan agreement. Attached is additional bond refunding analysis and required documentation.
Thank you, City Manager Jones.
It's a mouthful.
That's quite a bit of reading indeed. All right. At this time, we're going to hold a public hearing to consider the public benefits of the projects funded with the proceeds of the 1998 bonds and to be refinanced using proceeds of the 2019 bonds, specifically construction and acquisition of the city's police station and certain additional redevelopment projects benefiting the Taft Community Development Project. So I will open said public hearing and ask that anybody wishing to speak in support of this, please step forward. If you'll tell us your name for the record, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Brandon Kafori, and I'm with Fieldman Rollup, and we are the city's municipal advisor. And I want to thank members of the council and city manager and Mr. Mayor for the time tonight. As the city manager read from the staff report, we're looking to refund the 1998 bonds for savings, and there are two components to the bonds. There's a one piece that's backed by lease payments from the city's general fund, and the other is a loan agreement paid by RPTTF revenues from the successor agency. So we're looking to refund this for savings. Due to the transaction size and the tenor of the bonds, we've advised the city to use a private placement process where we place the bonds with one lender. We're joined tonight by other members of the finance team, Brandis Tallman, who's the placement agent, and Nikki Tallman is from the firm tonight, and Vanessa Legbant, who is the bond counsel from Stradling. So we've utilized this process to come up with the most savings for the city. We went out with a competitive bid process where we sent an RFP to 22 banks and got 4 very good bids. And based on the indicative rate we received, which is locked until our potential closing date, we're seeing total savings on the bonds of under $200,000. And the city would benefit by lowering its portion under the lease, and we're also going to shorten the term on that lease portion. In addition, just to note, tonight is the first approval in this process, so should council and successor agency elect to approve this, we would then go to the Kern County Oversight Board. We have a date set with them on March 28th. From there, we would need to go to the Department of Finance. So after Oversight Board approval, on March 29th, we would submit documents to DOF, and they would have 60 days from then to approve this. So we don't anticipate any issues in obtaining those approvals, but do want to note for council that this is step one, and then we would need to have those subsequent steps, and there could be questions from those agencies as well. So that's all, basically I've got prepared, but if there are any questions or other needs for information, please let me know.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When you say savings just under $200,000, you mean yearly savings or over the life of the...
Over the life of the bonds, I should have...
Over the life of
Yeah.
the bond. Okay.
Yeah, and that's for the whole bond. So
And you said it was going to be shortened?
there's two pieces. The city's lease will be shortened. The final maturity right now is 2028, and we're going to shorten that lease payment to 2025.
Thank you very much.
Okay?
You're looking at $36,000 a year savings then, what you're looking at?
Yes. Yes.
All right.
I do have a
Councilman
question.
Bryant?
You mentioned that some of those higher agencies, the Oversight Board as well as the Department of Finance, might have questions for us. What might those questions be, and how are we prepared to respond to those questions?
Not necessarily questions, and like I said, we don't anticipate there being an issue with an approval since we're doing this for savings. But because of the nature of the bonds with two revenue sources and a city lease portion and a successor agency loan, it's possible that our proposed structure is the fact that we have, to be frank, we have more savings for the city in our structure, and so there may be a question about that as far as the successor agency loan.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have that question for you.
Yeah.
You say here that they were shortened to 2025, but then but still the payments go to 2028
In the what?
on the bond itself. Get my glasses on here.
Yeah. So it's
Cheaters. It says here to be shortened to 2025, February 1st, 2025. And the final maturity for the successor agency loan remain at February 1st of 2028.
exactly. So on the bonds themselves will have a 2028 maturity. There's two revenue sources. So the city lease portion, we're shortening to 2025, and the agency loan we're leaving until 2028. And we're able to do that because we have a reserve fund of over $300 and I believe it's $72,000 that we're applying to the city lease to do that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any additional questions? We know that you have been working in concert with our finance director, Teresa Binkley, regarding this. I've spoken with her multiple times. Teresa, is there anything you would wish to add to this? By all means, step on up here, please.
No, I don't have a whole lot to add, except for I really appreciate the team that I've had to go through this. This has been a difficult refunding because of the complex of having the lease and the agency portion. So it was really helpful to have a really good team to help us through this process.
All right, very good then. Well, thank you very much, and thank you all very much. We'll look forward to the next step and hearing back, obviously, as we move forward. If there are questions, then we'll look forward to hearing about those too. Anytime we can save the people's money, that's a good thing. Keep the people's money where it belongs, right here in the city of Taft. Anybody wishing to speak in opposition of this matter? Hearing none, therefore I'm going to close this public hearing. At this time, I would entertain a motion to adopt a resolution entitled, "A Resolution of the City of Taft Authorizing the Execution and Delivery of a Site Lease Agreement, and Reimbursement Agreement Amendment in connection with the issuance by the Taft Public Financing Authority of revenue refunding bonds, approving the issuance of such bonds in an aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $2,700,000, accepting title to certain real property and authorizing the execution of necessary documents and certificates, that's an awful lot, and other related actions."
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion regarding this matter? None? Very good. May we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Crier,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant,
Yes.
Councilmember Whiting,
Yes.
and Mayor Noor.
Yes. I'm passed on a 4-0 vote with one absence. Thank you very much. Also at this time, I would entertain a motion to adopt a resolution of the Board of Directors of the successor agency to the Taft Community Development Agency, authorizing the execution and delivery of a loan agreement between the successor agency and the Taft Public Financing Authority, and an amendment to the reimbursement agreement between the successor agency and the City of Taft, and authorizing certain other actions in connection therewith.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any additional discussion?
No, sir.
Hearing none, may we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Crier,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant,
Yes.
Councilmember Whiting,
Yes.
and Mayor Noor.
Yes. Now passed on a 4-0 vote with one absence. Thank you very much. All right. Next up on our agenda, item number 2. Public hearing for the California Department of Housing and Community Development, HCD Annual Progress Reporting, APR, for 2018. City Manager Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. California Government Code Section 65400 requires each governing body, City Council, Board of Supervisors, to prepare an annual progress report, an APR, on the status and progress of implementing the jurisdiction's general plan to the Governor's Office of Planning and Research, are due each calendar year on the following April 1st. The Planning Commission reviewed and accepted this report at their meeting on March 6, 2019.
All right. At this time, I'm going to open a public hearing to review or receive comments on the Housing Element Progress Report. I'm I'm going to open that. Anybody wishing to speak in support of this, please step forward. How about in opposition? Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. Second recommendation is to review and accept the annual housing element progress report for the 2018 calendar year.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Discussion?
No, sir.
Huh? Discussion? Hearing none. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Crier,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant,
Yes.
Councilmember Whiting,
Yes.
and Mayor Noor.
Yes, not passed on a 4-0 vote. Thank you very much. Next up, item number 3, public hearing, Governor's Office of Planning and Research, General Plan Annual Progress Reporting for 2018. City Manager Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. California Government Code Section 65400 also requires each governing body to prepare an annual progress report on the status and progress in implementing the jurisdiction's housing element of the general plan using forms and definitions adopted by Department of Housing and Community Development. Housing elements reports are due for each calendar year following April 1st and must be sent to HCD and the Governor's Office Planning and Research. The Planning Commission reviewed and accepted this report at their meeting on January 16, 2019.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Recommendation is to hold a public hearing to receive comments on the General Plan Annual Progress Report, so I will open that public hearing right now. Anybody wishing to speak in support of or opposition of this matter, please step forward. Seeing none, I'm going to close said public hearing. The recommendation is review and accept the General Plan Annual Progress Report for the 2018 calendar year.
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. Any additional discussion of this? Gentlemen? Hearing none, may we have roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Crier,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant,
Yes.
Councilmember Whiting,
Yes.
and Mayor Noor.
Yes, now passed on a 4-0 vote. One absence. Thank you. Next up this evening, citizens request public comments. This is the time and place for the general public to address the city council on matters within its jurisdiction. State law prohibits the council from addressing any issue not previously included on the agenda. Council may receive comment and set the matter for a subsequent meeting. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes. This evening, Dr. Kathy Warren from the Taft Chamber of Commerce is going to address us. Welcome, Dr. Warren.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm here to remind you of the State of the City Luncheon coming up on April 4th. I'm proud to announce that we will be hearing from our mayor, Mayor Noor. We'll also be hearing from Dr. Julie Graves of the Taft City School District, Dr. Blanca Cavazos from the Taft Union High School District, and Dr. Deb Daniels from the West Kern Community College District, which we know as Taft College. Also, we'll be hearing from our own Chief Damon McMahon. And the theme is safety. So we are excited to have the State of the City, and we invite everyone to come. If you are interested in buying a table, you can call the chamber and make those arrangements. And if you aren't, you can come with $15 in your hand and you'll be welcomed with open arms. So we'd like everyone to be there because this is where you find out the real thing that's going on in town. This is the actual state of the city. So it's been very popular and we hope that it will continue to be. I want to report that the car show is coming along. There were several car shows last weekend, and they were very successful car shows. I'd like to think that Bakersfield took a note from us and did a downtown car show, but probably not. Anyway, we will be having our car show on Saturday, May 18th on the Rails to Trails, and many of you have already gotten invitations and entry forms in the mail, and we hope that even if you don't have a car to show, that you will come down and look at the beautiful cars.
It's along Rails and Trails, you said?
Yes, it is.
Incredible car show venue, one of the finest in the state of California.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Last time I was here before you going over some calendar items, I did not speak to the Taste of Taft, which will be held June 1st. It seems I have been incorrect in my assessment of who the host will be. The Chamber will be presenting the Taste of Taft this year. I didn't announce that before. So we have invited all the brick and mortar eating establishments in Taft to present some fare there, that they would, it's just a simple time to get together and taste some of the restaurants' offerings from our town. And we're hoping that the merchants in town stay open. We're going to offer this on Center Street. And I think it's going to be fun. Have you received any phone calls about this, Mayor Knorr?
Oh, ma'am, I have not.
Oh, well, you're going to be.
Okay.
All right, I'm just saying, I was in Shannon Grove's office, and she thought this was a lovely idea, and she couldn't think of anyone more suited to join her at this venue. So I'm just kind of surprised you haven't heard. But
I'm sure I will.
Yes, I'm sure you will too.
Always a pleasure.
So that's what's coming up at the chamber. We invite everybody. It's wonderful to be informed, and I want to do a shout out to the rec district. They offered a mystery theater at the Fox Theater last Saturday, and it's the first thing of its kind that they've ever done. And I have to tell you, it was wonderful. Now, Taft had a lot of stuff going on last Saturday. There was also a pub crawl, which, to no one's surprise, was very successful and very well organized, I must say. And I don't think there was any downside to that. So it was very well done. It was nice to come out of the theater, the Murder Mystery Theater, and see people around town. It was a beautiful evening, and there were a lot of folks downtown. It was nice to have that happen. So I think it's going to be a great start to a good year. So thank you.
Thank you very much. There was one other thing that took place this last Saturday, and we're very fortunate in the city of Taft. On the west side, as a matter of fact, there's a group of people that came to an ELR event. An ELR event is Extreme Long Range Shooting. And we have a range right here, just outside the city of Taft, where there are targets, gongs set up out to 1,760 yards, which is a mile. Not many places can you engage targets with rifles out to a mile, but we're fortunate enough to do that here. And I will tell you, Kathy, that there was 35 or 40 participants that came from a long way away and actually camped up there in order to be here and take advantage of that opportunity, and that was on Saturday. So just another one of those things that happened in the city of Taft. People came from many, many miles away to take advantage of the opportunity, and it was a glorious day, and it was a great function as well. So many things happening. All right, next up, council statements, non-action. Councilman Bryan, I'm going to begin with you this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I didn't have much, but I did want to echo Kathy's sentiment. It was fantastic. I was one of the participants out there on Saturday night. It was nice to see folks just out and about town on times where they're usually not downtown. Sherry and Ed, Sherry Black and Ed Gates did a fantastic job organizing that. One as a benefit to the local merchants, particularly the pubs, and two as a benefit fundraiser for the Arts Committee. So I'm looking forward to those continuing. Or so the fundraisers, not necessarily the pub crawls, but they're a nice byproduct of the fundraising. But it was very nice. My only wish is I can't wait to see how we incorporate the other merchants downtown. So we can get people in their doors and get people shopping at those stores, because those are valuable assets to that area of the community. Really, that's all I have. So congratulations to everyone who put on the great events, and thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, sir. All right, Councilman Whiting.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight, I'm sad to report the passing of a officer that worked here at Taft PD. His name was John Brown. We called him Downtown John Brown. He worked here starting in 1987, which was 2 years after I got here in 85. We both promoted to senior officer in 89, and then we both promoted to sergeant in 90. He retired in 1995. Him and his wife Faith moved from here several years later to Pocatello, Idaho. And he didn't leave Taft behind because he lived in the 100 block of Taft Street there in Pocatello, Idaho. John was a very, very nice guy. Probably one of the best people we've had here. He drove around. He helped everybody that he could talk to or find. People had a lot of respect for him. Before he came here, he worked many years at the Kern County Sheriff's Office, rising to the level of what they call Investigator 2, which would be the equivalent of a senior deputy. John lived down on Warren Street with his wife, had a son here, has many grandchildren and great-grandchildren that are with him right now in Pocatello. His wife, Faye, passed away about a year and a half ago. We kind of kept tabs with John, but sorry to hear of his passing. He really was a good officer here for the city of Taft, and he really did help out the citizens as best he could. So we're sorry to hear of his passing. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Mayor Pro Tem Crier.
Thank you, Mayor. Indeed, we had a busy weekend with the pub crawl, and the theater with a mystery event there for a play, and I was busy at the fort helping out, donating my time there to help them out, and I met a fairly young couple from L.A., and they were there, and they introduced themselves to me that they're just bought the old convalescent hospital behind the fort, and I introduced myself to them, my position here with the city and stuff, and they seemed kind of excited, and they're going to go ahead and want to get a fence put up around the old convalescent hospital, keep the vagrancy out, and fix it up. They're going to go ahead and clean it up inside, outside, get it going. And apparently that's county, so county will be getting some call from them, and hoping they'll keep in touch with us as a city, and they'll hope something will happen there. And their intentions are to reopen it again as a convalescent or office again, or home again. So that'll be good, because a lot of people, that's what we need here in Taft, because too many times the parents move away to Bakersfield to go to a rest home there, and the family's here, and going to Bakersfield back and forth could be an issue and stuff. But to me, it's kind of exciting. We'll see if it happens. I won't make any promises, but that's what I've been told. Then on Monday, I had to go do a little emergency dentistry down at Charles Walker's dentistry office, and kind of relates to the Fox Theater on Saturday. A lady come to me talking about something I didn't know what she was even talking about. Something about the Fox. I know something about the Fox, but yeah, I saw you there, the reporter, blah, blah, blah. I talked to you, and you talked to me. I go, lady, I was a bartender at the fort. I would not make it, and she apologized. She thought I was part of it. She mentioned my name and the whole works, and I was even there. But kind of funny how it go. But we talked about it and how great the time was they had there, and I hope they do it again. I think it should be, I hope they do it at least 2 or 3 times a year. I think that's something that can catch on and get people participate and engage Taft and have a good time and stuff. As far as the pub crawl, man, I heard all kind of good things about that. Ed Gaither did a really good job with Michael Parent and them. They put together, and everybody benefited from it. Money stayed here in town. I got a lot of new people, and I hope they do it again for Halloween. Have a Halloween pub crawl. I think that'd be a nice venue. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it, but I heard a lot of good things about it. So it's all in good for Taft, and it's a good things that we need here in entertainment and stuff. And that's all I have to say, Mayor.
All right, thank you very much. Some very pleasant weather we've had the last couple of days. I'm going to make a public service announcement because a longtime servant of the people here in the city of Taft is no longer here. And if he was here today and he was sitting right there, I bet everybody here knows what he would be telling you. It's been raining, sun's been shining, and the weeds are growing. That's right. So just pretend I'm Randy Miller. Our hair is very similar in its color. Our stature is slightly different. However, it is important. Those weeds are growing. So take care of them now while it's easy. It's actually supposed to rain some tomorrow. We're going to get some more weather, but it's all a part of it, because when they get really big and really tall and really dead, they're very unsightly and they create problems for us. And there are times that we unfortunately have to have city crews go out and handle that at the expense of the taxpayers. So everybody, do your part, please. The weeds grow. We're glad we got the water. The drought's over, I believe, officially in 97% of the state of California. That's wonderful news, but it creates a little bit of work. So we all need to see to that. That's all I have this evening. So item number 6, Planning Commission report. Do we have a Planning Commission report this evening? All right, very good.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Jerry Livingston, Planning Commission. Well, you've already taken care of one of the items we sent to you, which was the general plan report. So don't need to give you too much more about that. The other item we're still working on is the sign ordinance. We had an opportunity to again go through it a little bit, talk over with Mark and Jason some of the issues that we still see necessary to be addressed, and I suspect we'll probably be back before the end of the summer with the final version for you.
All right.
That's it. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much, sir. Next item, number 7, department reports. Do we have any department reports this evening? Seeing none. All right. Next up, item number 8, city manager statement. City Manager Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. No statement tonight.
All right. Item number 9, city attorney statements.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No statement.
No statement. See you, name. Item number 10, future agenda requests.
I do have one, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to ask that our traffic or safety committees, or both, review traffic flow and parking safety issues around our public schools in the city.
All right. Very good. So that needs to go to the safety committee.
Yes, sir. Safety committee or traffic or both.
All right. That makes good sense. I would concur with that.
Thank you.
Any others this evening, gentlemen? None? Okay, then. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up, consent calendar items 11 through 19. All items listed on the consent calendar shall be considered routine and will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the City Council requests specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Any item removed from the consent calendar will be considered after the regular business items. Are there any items on the consent calendar that any member of the public would like to comment on? Hearing none. Consent calendars items for this evening are number 11, the minutes from the March 5th, 2019 meeting. Number 12, the payment of bills, some $50,000 worth. Item number 13, National Walking Day. Recommendation is a motion to approve allowing available employees to participate in the Walk on Rails to Trails as part of National Walking Day. What a great place to walk or do anything else for that matter. Item number 14, Taft Chamber of Commerce fee waiver request for the Old Dorado Room. Choir send-off concert for the Taft Union High School Choir. Recommendation is a motion to approve waiver of fees for use of the Old Dorado Room on April the 1st, 2019 for Taft Chamber of Commerce Choir send-off concert. Item 15, Seroptimist fee waiver request for the Old Dorado Room, the annual garden tour luncheon. Recommendation is a motion to approve waiver of fees for use of the Old Dorado Room on April 27, 2019 for Taft Seroptimist annual garden tour luncheon. Item number 16, the agreement for transfer of properties is going to be pulled from this evening's consent calendar and continued to the next meeting. Item 17, professional services agreement with Retail Strategies for continued economic development and retail recruitment services. The recommendation is a motion to approve a professional services agreement with Retail Strategies for year 2 of a 2-year deal, economic development and retail recruitment services with a cost not to exceed $45,000. Item 18, Fifth Street Plaza Park reservation fee waiver request and refund of fees. Motion to approve waiver of fees for use of the Fifth Street Plaza for March 16th, 2019 for the Grub and Pub Crawl and refund Mr. Gaither the $93.50 in fees paid, which they didn't end up using anyway. And then finally, item 19, debt management policy. Recommendation is a motion for Taft City Council to adopt a resolution entitled Resolution of the Taft City Council Adopting a Debt Management Policy, and then a motion for the City of Taft as a successor agency to adopt a resolution entitled Resolution of the Successor Agency of the Taft Community Development Agency of the City of Taft Adopting a Debt Management Policy. Do any council members wish to remove any of these items from the consent calendar?
I'd like to pull item 17, please.
Item 17. All right, very good. Any others, gentlemen? All right, hearing none, at this time, I would entertain a motion to approve consent calendar items 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 18, and 19.
Motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. May we have roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Cryer,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant,
Yes, can I abstain from item 14, please?
Councilmember Whiting,
Yes.
and Mayor Nor.
Yes. It's approved on a 4-0 vote with one abstention for item 14. Councilman Bryant, understood. All right, moving on to item 17. Professional services agreement with Retail Strategies for continued economic development and retail recruitment services. City Manager Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. The City of Taft approved a professional service agreement on April 3rd, 2018 with Retail Strategies for 1 year of economic development and retail recruitment services. Scott Van Cannon, Chief Operations Officer, is the city's retail recruitment manager, along with Joe Strauss, VP of Retail Development. Scott and Joe visited the city in July of 2018 to meet with city staff, the Economic Development Ad Hoc Committee, and other city officials to conduct Taft's Economic Development Needs Assessment. A presentation was made on July 17th, 2018. The City Council meeting with initial findings and initial market flyer. Further, Retail Strategies represented Taft at the International Council Shopping Center at ICSC, Western Conference in Los Angeles in October 2018. City staff met with Scott and Joe at the event, along with follow-up meetings involving the vacant Kmart building and potential new retail recruitment. Based on the efforts in the year, Retail Strategies, city staff have agreed that their efforts have been effective in retail recruitment. Attached is a proposed professional services continuing economic development retail recruitment services for a second year with Retail Strategies, along with the first year's overview.
All right, thank you, City Manager Jones. Recommended action is a motion to approve a professional services agreement with Retail Strategies for Year 2 economic development and retail recruitment services with a cost not to exceed $45,000.
Motion.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. Councilman Bryant, you asked that this be pulled and you made the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The reason I pulled this off is, one, I wanted to express my explicit support for this. I'm very proud of the progress that they've made, and two, I'm very excited what they have left ahead. But I think it's important that we're very obvious and transparent with what progress we've made thus far. And so what I would like to do is ask the city manager or the planning director, Mr. Staples, to give us just a little bit of background on what's been accomplished. I know we can't go into some detail because of legalities and not wanting to burst anybody's bubble, but I would like to get the people excited about what we're moving on so far.
All right, we would have Planning Director Mark Staples step up here.
All right, thank you, Mayor Knorr, Councilmember Bryant, and fellow members of the council. Mark Staples, Planning Director for the city. In your staff report, you do have what Retail Strategies prepared as essentially a year one progress report and scope of work update, and it goes over the year one items that are summarized in the staff report with the discovery process and the recruitment plan. That's a real short version of the story. What you have before you is the 11 by 17 two-sided marketing flyer we have, and it's done a far better job than we could have as a city in that most retailers and restaurants and other companies, they don't see our city boundary. They look at drive times and distance. So what you have there, especially on the front page where you see the colored map, they've provided a 10, 20, and 30-minute drive time to essentially the Albertsons supermarket. It's kind of the hub of retail activities there at 10th and Kern. So from there, and you'll see the demographic profile to the right of that, and it shows that our 9,500 person Taft population increases to well over 20,000. And then again on the back side of that, not the map side, but the back side, there's a daytime population, that one with the circle chart, not quite a pie chart, shows our daytime population where Retail Strategies, they have programs and GIS and other things that we do not, that can analyze population data and also movement. So the traffic that does come from Bakersfield to here and our traffic that goes to Bakersfield. And they're able to measure this daytime population number that is almost approaching 22,000 people average daily. And that's one of the biggest numbers that retailers look at. They want to know how many people are coming through, and that's the combination of the people who live here, the people who work here, and the people who are passing by. And that's a tough thing to measure with only census statistics. We're not going to get that from that. So that's been the biggest benefit, is whatever programs, time, processes, other things like that, to create this information that these retailers are looking for. Because even our face-to-face meetings we've had at these ICSC events, sometimes they're real quick. It's, the 60-second marketing pitch, if you will. And that's the other side of it, is they've talked to thousands of us at representatives from cities. We're the biggest city cheerleader. They hear it over and over again. They still want to hear it. But one thing that Scott and Joe provide is that more impartial middleman, truly giving them the numbers, and they could trust them that the numbers are accurate. They're not inflated or anything like that. Not that cities would do that, but it helps provide a little more confirmation and security in what decision a particular retailer may action they may take. So some of the results, if you will, on the third page of the 4-page year one summary, the retail recruitment activity from last year's ICSC Western Conference event in Los Angeles that was attended by almost 4,000 people. And then I attended a one-day event up in Monterey earlier this month, which was attended by 1,200 people. You have a general list of some of the recruitment targets we have. There are small grocery concept businesses. There's still the dollar stores that have a grocery component, and then there's also the grocery outlet as a quickly expanding business. So those are some of the ones we've been talking to, because as everybody knows, we have that vacant Kmart space, and we're trying to figure out what combination of clothing, food, or other products that the city of Taft needs. Work boots, shoes, things like that are definitely some of the combinations we're looking for, and that's one option is if there's a need for more grocery businesses. And then also the general merchandiser listed second there on their recruitment activity. We are pursuing whether it's Tractor Supply or Harbor Freight are two of the National Tool Hardware and Workwear businesses that we've been talking to. Scott and Joe have been doing most of the legwork on that. A lot of these don't attend some of the ICSC events. They tend to be heavy on the restaurant side of things. And then you see there was some of the restaurants with the quick service burger, national coffee chain, auto parts, and quick service restaurants. Those are probably our biggest targets at the moment, as we have a number of vacant properties from the Albertsons Shopping Center next to Taco Bell, between Fast Trip and on Center Street and on the, not Center, Kern and the 10th Street sides of it. So we've really been pushing those. Some of the groups we've talked to, there's no promises here, but we are talking to them. Panda Express, Starbucks, Jack in the Box, Jimmy John's, Burlington. I think their company name still has the Coat Factory, but they're just going by Burlington. Carl's Jr., Pollo Loco, Great Clips, Sonic, Chipotle. And I'm not trying to be negative or anything, but I got sometimes you get an eye opener when you talk to some of these retailers, what they're looking for, and we're a small town. Are we going to produce what they need for their revenues, things like that? I did speak with Vallarta Supermarkets. They're a somewhat Latino-oriented supermarket chain, but anywhere they go, anybody and everybody shops there. And I spoke with them, and one thing that they look for, we always talk about rooftops as far as the shoppers. One of their concerns is they see maybe a market here, but can they get the employees? So that's one thing that the rooftops, the population, provides enough employable people to various businesses. So that's one concern they have that they would have to look into if they wanted to come here. Because we have that empty Safeway that probably would fit nicely for Vallarta or any other supermarket of that size. But that is one thing that these conversations reveal with a small rural town like us here in Taft. even with the county communities. It's a good eye-opener reminder that there's some things we could work on or things we need to measure for them. So I think I'll leave my summary presentation at that. I feel free to answer any questions you may have.
I will tell you one of the things that stands out, if I may, Mark, and this is the truth, and I've always said, successes are always built on failures. We learn what does not work many, many times before we learn what does work. One of the items here is, and they checked it on the bottom of that same page, obviously we have been turned down by a number of retailers regarding Taft, as is customary in our business. We heard 99 no's before typically hearing one yes. Most of those retailers typically need a larger consumer-based population, and we expect that from many. We are continuing persistence and creatively shedding light on the daytime population of Taft due to the oil field traffic. Our data helps us capture that intel for our retailers. I heard not too long ago in a ridiculous article that there were no jobs in Taft, and I get up, my day starts very early. I typically leave my house about 4:20. But all one need do is be headed eastbound on Taft Highway at around 5 a.m. and see a steady stream of traffic headed west. Or it can be Stockdale, or it can be any of the arterial transport routes from the Bakersfield area coming this way, and then obviously the opposite at the end of the day. And so to say that there are no jobs around here is really quite ludicrous when you think about just what they capture here. When they say our daytime population is some 22,000 people, the people that come here every day and then leave is not a family of 5 where there are 3 children and 2 grown-ups. These are all grown people, and they're working and employable and paying taxes and all of the above. So when you think about the swelling of the daytime population and the percentage of our normal population that is in that working class, it's multiplied by 3 or 4 times. And that's all very important when it comes to this. So if you have to sit down and talk to and cater to 99 different retailers until you finally find that one fit, that's a great deal of time, a great deal of effort. But you know what? We are a small town. We don't apologize for being a small city because, quite frankly, there's a great many things I love about being a small city. And we are, after all, surrounded by oil fields and endangered species habitat. And these are realities that will not change in the near future. So we are not going to have a 4-story hospital with 6 elevators that deliver babies on a regular basis in the city of Taft. That is not going to happen anytime soon. But I know before a former business partner of mine passed away, there was a window building company that came to the city of Taft. And we spoke with them at length, and we were really working hard to bring that company and all those jobs to the city of Taft. And we were right there, and they were looking at Tejon as well. And I know the business development man there, he's a good friend of mine, so we had conversations about this. And lo and behold, they ended up going to San Bernardino, who was emerging from bankruptcy, and they were dangling all kinds of carrots to get anybody there. That is where they ended up going. So every single day, day in and day out, we're working very, very hard to try to bring other businesses and whether it's retail or it's consumers or it's some other employer to the city of Taft, but it's got to be the right fit, and that's going to take some work.
We've also been developing, I guess you could say, a mutual relationship with each of the regional managers that we need to be speaking with. The city manager started that when he started going to the ICSC events long before I was hired here. And the key thing is continuing those and updating the information they need updated for fees and processes. What planning commission process do they need to go through? And that's one thing they definitely appreciate. We need to maintain those relationships to bring some of those businesses here.
All right, very good. Well, I appreciate that. Gentlemen, any additional questions?
Oh, good job.
Thank you, Mark. Keep it up.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for clarifying that. All right, so item 17, we had a motion and a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Cryer?
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant?
Yes.
Councilmember Whiting?
Yes.
And Mayor Knorr.
Yes, and that passes on a 4-0 vote. Thank you very much. All right, that concludes the regular portion of our meeting. We will be going into closed session for 2 items. Items A, conference with labor negotiator Craig Jones, city manager, Government Code Section 54957.6, all units, as well as item B, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9A, Taft Union High School versus the city of Taft. Oh, wait a second. I guess I'm not done. Oh, for heaven's sake. Item C, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9B, 2 potential cases. And then item D, conference with real property negotiator Craig Jones, city manager, Government Code Section 54956.8, APN number 032-110-30. That'll be a long closed session. So you all don't have to stick around for that. Thank you all for being a part of this evening's meeting. Good night.